Hello, and welcome to a surprise bonus edition of Tea Time with Sue. As always, I'm your host, the enormously proud president of Truman State University, Sue Thomas. At the end of the Tea Time baking episode, I shared that the next Tea Time would be back in the spring and would feature interactive challenges. Now, that's still going to happen, but recently I've been asked the same few questions by a number of people, and we had a few other questions, including some holiday questions, that I had not had the chance to answer before. So we thought a throwback episode using the format from the first season of Tea Time made sense. Here's the trusty teapot loaded up with those questions, so let's get started. All right, first question. What is your favorite Christmas movie, and is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Okay, I'm going to start with the second part first. Okay, I know this might be controversial, but I do not think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I get it's around Christmas, I get people come together, but I don't actually think it's a Christmas movie. Okay, what is my favorite Christmas movie? Well, like a lot of people, I like It's a Wonderful Life, I like Elf, but I'm actually going to share my favorite thing to watch at Christmas actually isn't a movie. It's a claymation episode that was done back in the 1970s. And so this was one I remember as a child, and I make sure I watch it 1,000,000 times every Christmas season. And it's called The Year Without a Santa Claus. So you are all going to have to check it out because it has a really cool message about belief and supporting each other. It has these super cool characters called Heat Miser and Snow Miser who do fabulous musical numbers. And so it takes me back to my childhood. It's fun, it has a catchy beat. And so if you haven't heard of The Year Without a Santa Claus, I'd say check that one out. Okay, question 2. When will the Greenwood Interprofessional Autism Center start serving clients? So I am super happy to report that starting in January, we will start doing assessments of clients for Greenwood and then start offering services shortly thereafter. The building is just about finished. The elevator has to go in, but other than that, it is finished. The on-campus staff that's been housed at other places on Truman's campus is starting to move in and getting the building set up. So come January, we are going to start seeing clients in the Greenwood Center, which is enormously exciting and a huge testament to a ton of people who helped make that happen. All right, oops, upside down. Next question. Everybody should know their why for doing what they do. What is your why for being president? Okay, so I actually agree with the idea that everybody should know their why for doing what they do, because when things get really challenging, when you get frustrated, when you don't know a way forward, figuring out why you do what you do, I think becomes really important. So I think that's actually a really super cool question. I think my why for being the president is from the time I was little, I always wanted to make a difference in the world, right? I always wanted to have an impact. That's why I wanted to do teaching, right? And loved my time as a college professor. And then when I moved into administration, I realized I could have a less direct impact on any one individual person, but a broader impact across a whole lot of people. And now as president of Truman, I think my why is I can have an impact individually, but sending out really cool Truman alums out into the world to make it a better place is a much greater impact than I could have individually. And so I think my why for being president of Truman is to make sure we send our students out as well prepared as possible so they actually make the difference that they have the potential to make in the world. Right? I always tell people I'm super hopeful about the future because we are sending Truman graduates into it and they are making a huge difference in what they do. So, yeah, kind of a cool question. Oh, okay, back to buildings. Are there any updates with the Kirk Building project that you can share at this time? Yeah, so we're about a year out from when Kirk is going to finish. We did a coffee and chocolates get together where faculty and staff and students were able to come to talk about the renovation that was going on in Kirk and the really cool collaborative services model that the Student Success Center is going to use. So right now, those of you who are familiar with Kirk, most of the concrete that had all of the seats in it in the gym has been taken out. The building is down to studs in some places. And so at this moment in time, the renovation is going really well. It is on track. You all know that we're staging out of the Dobson parking lot, and so that's why everything is there. And so fingers crossed that about a year from now, the Kirk renovation should be fully complete and we will start being able to move in. Right, next one. Oh, what is the academic reorganization and what effects will it have on students and their programs? So for those of you who've heard about the academic reorganization, it is a way to administratively structure departments and schools on the academic side of the house. A lot of universities will do an academic reorganization because they're looking to save money or cut programs. That is not at all true for Truman. We are doing the academic reorganization from a position of strength, thinking about how we can bring together programs in cool and synergistic ways so that they can continue to strengthen what they do in their existing programs and think about some innovative things that we can do, right? And when you think about it, a university should be really dynamic and always thinking about how it can do things better. And so for us, the academic reorganization is a way to restructure departments and programs in schools, right, to help be more dynamic, to be more innovative, and to find synergies to do really cool things going forward on the academic side of the house. So here's what's really important to know. Your major and your program is not being impacted at all. All of the majors and programs we have will continue to exist as they currently exist. No requirements are being changed. You can graduate in a timely way. Nothing impacting your program and your major is going to change, right? What might change is the department your program is in, perhaps the chair of that department, if the department changes, who the secretary might be who supports your program. But your program is not changing, the name of your program is not changing, your requirements are not changing. All of those will continue to be exactly the same. And last question. What is your favorite holiday tradition? That's a tough one, because my family actually does a number of traditions, and I'm trying to think about what might be my favorite. One of them is we get together on Christmas Eve and we make something called pasta moitié. And if you ask me to spell that, I cannot spell that for you. It's my Slovenian grandmother's take on my Italian grandfather's favorite dish, which it has pasta and hard-boiled eggs and chopped up meatballs and provolone cheese and all kind of cool stuff. And if you think the hard-boiled egg sounds gross, you're gonna have to come see me sometime and I'll make it for you and you will find out how absolutely delicious it is. But I think another fun tradition that we do all the time is when I was growing up, I grew up with no money. And so what became really important to us is to do a lot of baking. We would bake a ton of cookies and other kinds of things because that was an inexpensive way to share our love and caring with other people. And we made sure we wrapped every single gift that we had. And so if you got new underwear in your stocking, Mom would wrap every pair of that new underwear so you had something else to open. If you had an orange in your stocking, she would wrap up the orange. So even though my kids now are adults, we continue that tradition. I wrap up absolutely everything in their stocking. I don't actually put the gifts under the tree until they go to bed, so when they come down in the morning, it looks like Santa came, even though maybe they don't necessarily believe anymore. And so I think the traditions I love the most about what we do at the holidays are the ones that connect to our family. And so there's They may be silly to other people, but they're really meaningful to us, and that's why we keep them going. So thank you for joining me for this bonus episode of Tea Time with Sue. I wish each and every one of you a great end to the semester and the happiest of the holidays you celebrate. To our fabulous graduating seniors, it's really bittersweet. We will miss you and everything you add to our campus, but we are so excited for this next phase of your life's journey, and we know you will go on to do really great things. To everybody who will be returning for the spring semester, I look forward to doing terrific things together. And don't forget, Tea Time with Sue will be back in the spring with interactive challenges. Follow Truman's Instagram for more details as they become available, and maybe you will be featured on an upcoming episode.